Hey guys, the Chiefs draft plans are becoming clearer as we get deeper into this free agency period. We're going to talk a little bit about how this changes the draft plans going forward. Welcome back to All Chiefed Up. ACU crew, how are you guys doing today? Thanks for being with me. It's just me today. Steve is at work. That's what he does. He's at work. I'm at work. We're all hanging out. Look, it's about 10 till 2 Central Standard Time. I've got about an hour, so I decided I'd come on here, talk a little bit of draft plans, also let you guys know what's going on with free agency a little bit today. I was going to do a vertical live, but look, I was like, let's just let this go out to the people. So we're going to keep it on a traditional, just a good old-fashioned live stream today. We're going to talk a little bit about free agency, some moves maybe Brett Veach can make going forward, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the draft, do a few mock drafts, and kind of look at what would happen if we take certain plans like DE early at number 9, wide receiver at number 9, possibly a safety at number 9, then maybe even get wild and do a corner at number 9, and we'll see how it kind of goes down the board. We may try to do 3 or 4 of those. I may just kind of do them quick, and we'll kind of talk about them as we go. But the big thing today, the Chiefs have been kind of quiet. No doubt that was going to happen. I thought Brett Veach was overly active yesterday. Signing Kenneth Walker III was insane. I don't think anybody would have thought the Chiefs would have went out and threw that much money towards a running back, that kind of position. You can see maybe the model of which the Chiefs offense is going to now run is a little different. So I feel like Bieniemy coming in, DeMarco Murray, I feel like Andy listened a little bit. He went out and he got somebody that can now burst off chunk plays. Kenneth Walker III can catch out of the backfield. He's got pretty good vision. He can make people miss like crazy. That was a great addition, in my opinion. I give that at least an A grade right there for Brett Veach. You go down, I think Khyiris Tonga is literally like one of the sneakiest, best picks. The Chiefs almost have to go through and pay offense, and then they kind of go to the draft for defense. And what you've seen with the Tonga pick was a little bit of money spent on the defense, very strategic. I think that is a great pickup. I give that one a B+ as well. So now you're looking at an A, you're looking at a B+. Bringing back Tyquan Thornton, he listened to the fans, he listened to everybody. I think he's going to come back to KC, and he's going to come back with a little more defined role in 2026. And so I think that helps. So right now we're going to have Rashee Rice barring some kind of suspension, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Royals, and we've added on Tyquan Thornton. So the wide receiver room still needs a little bit of work. Nico Remigio can be tendered here in the next few days. They have to do that. They have a little bit of time to tender him. Matt Ariza, Eric Scott Jr., and if they want to, Mike Caliendo, which there's been reports that they're not going to tender him or offer him a contract there. So I think out of all those guys, I think the only one I would really want to mess with would be Matt Ariza, but I could see the Chiefs maybe tendering Nico Remigio for one more year just because Dave Toub loves him and Dave Toub didn't go anywhere. So those may be the 2 guys I would watch. Specifically for me, I would only really mess with Matt Ariza. I think getting Matt Ariza at like maybe $1.1 million is super cheap for him. So today we lost Isaiah Pacheco. Surprise, surprise. The Chiefs wasn't really interested in bringing him back. He's going to now go split carries with Jahmyr Gibbs now that they've traded David Montgomery. He's going to be over in Detroit with Dan Campbell. So I think that's a pretty good fit for Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's got that workhorse mentality, that hard running style that I think Dan Campbell and them will value. And I think he'll be fine over there. So I wish him the best of luck. Then we also just seen 30 minutes ago, the Patriots actually put out some decent money for wide receiver Romeo Doubs from the Packers. And a lot of Chiefs Kingdoms thought that that was a really good fit for our offense. I just think Doubs was a little too expensive. I don't think Brett Veach could make it work. I feel like in the next few days here before tomorrow, it's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, the new league year kicks over. The Chiefs got to be cap compliant. All these signings don't go into effect. They'll start signing after that 4 p.m. Eastern time frame. I feel like the Chiefs are going to have to make some kind of move to continue going forward, whether that's a restructure of Chris Jones, which I don't really prefer, whether it's a restructure of Creed Humphrey, which I do prefer, maybe not even a restructure, but more of along of maybe converting some of his his contract to cash, something like that. Trey Smith, I'd be fine with. It seems like Nick Bolton is one I wouldn't really want to mess with either, because if I want to get rid of Nick Bolton after this year or next year, that makes it a little harder to do. They could also cut Drew Tranquil. Not saying they're going to do that, but that's an option. They could cut Wanye Morris, CJ Hansen. That frees up a little bit. And the cornerback room is in trouble right now, to be honest. We're pretty gutted. But I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. The Chiefs saved over $250 million. That's how much money went out in contracts yesterday to our DBs. We lost 4 of them. And that includes the Trent McDuffie trade. There was over $100 million in signing guarantees and over $36 million towards the cap in 2026. So Brett Veach, I think, took an estimated, calculated risk. And he said, look, going into the draft, this is a deep safety class. This is one of the deepest safety classes that I've witnessed in the last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe longer than that. This is one of the deepest corner classes I've witnessed. I've got 20 to 25 corners, give or take, grading out at a 5th round pick, early 5th round pick, or better. So the meat and bones of this class is literally sitting right there in that defensive backfield. And I think Brett Veach seen that, and I think they're going to go forward. And then last night they signed Alohi Gilman. Also, another nice pickup. He's got a lot of range. He can hit a little bit. He covers pretty well. He allowed, the Ravens, he allowed Kyle Hamilton to come down and get in the box a little bit so he could, wander the center field area a little bit. I think he's going to do that. I think that's going to help out Shamari Connor, Jaden Hicks. And I like that signing as well. Somewhere around $7 to $8 million per year, I think is really good there. So thanks for being with me. Hit that like button if you haven't already. That's pretty much covering all the free agency stuff that we got going on right now. And if you see me looking off this way, I'm sorry. I'm by myself today. I don't have Steve with me. So I'm kind of checking X. I'm kind of checking a few different things. I'm making sure the free agency feed, nothing's breaking on you guys, because if so, I'm going to get right in and tell you guys exactly what's going on there. A lot of people are tweeting at me and saying to bring back L'Jarius Sneed. That could be something the Chiefs look at, but at the same time, I don't know. Sneed got in some legal trouble. He's also got that lingering knee. I don't know if they'll mess with it. I wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring back Mike Dana if he tests free agency. Even if he makes a team and then gets cut, he could come back to the Chiefs on a very minimal deal. You could also see this with Caliendo. They don't want to put that tender on Caliendo for 3, I think it's 3.5, 3.3, somewhere in that range. He may go somewhere, get cut, and then come back and sign a vet minimum deal. So the Chiefs can always play these little tricks, these little games. So they may end up with some of the players that, they've said goodbye to, kind of like they did Pinnell and different people last year. So it's something like that. But so for right now, it's looking pretty good. It's not looking like anything major's happening today. Free agency's dying down just a little bit. I think all these major contracts in free agency have now hit a snag. These guys are going to be selective on where they want to go to. They kind of want to let free agency play out. They're letting these guys spend their early money, so now they're being more selective of where it's going. So if anything happens, we'll get to it. But for now, I just want to jump into the chat for just a few minutes, talk with you guys a little bit, and then we'll jump right into some mock drafts. I think it's a good idea. Let me see. Let's go through here. What's up, Huckleberry? Huckleberry in the house. Anthony's in the house. Bam. We've got Dane in the house. Joey. Dane said, what's up? Huckleberry says, what's up? What's up, brother? I hope you guys are both doing good. JCP says, let the boy watch. And, of course, let him watch. And I hope Brett Veach is watching right now. Let me see. We got Wheezy in the house. What's up? Maddox is in the house. Renee is in the house. Look, so many people, you guys are with me today, and I appreciate y'all being here. And then right on cue, it looks like we're going to get the train rolling in right now. We got Pops in the house today with the 5 gifted. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Pop's birthday today. Pops is, I'm not even going to tell you what Pops is going to be turning today. If he wants to tell you guys in the chat how old he is, he can age himself. I'm not going to do it. But it's Pop's birthday today. Let's just say he's getting closer to 70, not 60. That's what I'm saying. But everybody wish Pops a happy birthday today. I tried to take Pops out. I told him, I said, look, Pops, I'm going to take you out to your favorite delicious meal today. Or soon we'll go to Mexican. And he writes me back and says, I don't think we'll be doing that anytime soon. So I don't know what he's alluding to, but it's scaring me a little bit. So I got to give Pops a call after this is over with. We got to see what's going on. Hopefully everything's good though. But yeah, It's Pop's birthday. Everybody wish him a happy birthday. I think Veach give you a little bit of an early birthday present yesterday, Pops, with a little Kenneth Walker, a little Tonga action. I feel like Pops, out of all these guys, I feel like Pops probably loves Tonga more than anybody. Like, if I know Pops pretty well, he gets a little fired up for the big uglies. He gets fired up for the pass rush. So I think he'll have a good one there. But yeah, happy birthday, Pops. March 10th. It's your day today, baby. Let's go. But yeah, let's just jump right into a few mock drafts here. Look, let's just do them kind of quick, and let's kind of take it from, we'll not do any trades or anything like that. Let's just have whatever the board falls to us, best player available at any position of need. And here's what I want to do. I want to bring this in for you guys right now. And let's take a look at this before we start this, because I've got a updated depth chart as the Chiefs sit right now at 3:01 p.m. Eastern time, the day before the new league year. And we'll just take a look at this depth chart really quick. At wide receivers, let's just start with quarterback. Of course, we got Mahomes, Oladokin, and Hayner. We're going to need a backup quarterback at some point, in my opinion. At halfback, we got Kenneth Walker and Brashard Smith. I think that they're probably going to maybe get Kareem Hunt back on a 1 year, but they still need another back. No doubt about it. And, of course, I left off Shunderick Powell. I don't think he should be there at number 3, but I don't think Shunderick Powell's got a chance of making this team. So I think they need Kareem Hunt maybe for 1 year, or they draft, or they do a combination of both. At the offensive line, you're going to have Simmons, Sumatai, Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Jalen Moore. I think that's completely fine. Jalen Moore and Simmons has got Esapole, Chu Godric, Matt Waletzko, and Ethan Driscoll backing up those tackles. Ethan Driscoll can also play guard. So with him and Hanson and Norzad, those three can cover guard. And, of course, Norzad can cover the center. I think we could get a little deeper at offensive line depth. Wide receiver is a big one here. Rashee Rice, Jalen Royals, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton. That's our big 4 right now, and we haven't really seen what Royals can do. Rashee Rice could be suspended, and Worthy, a lot of people with him going into year 3 isn't really impressed with Worthy in year 3. So I do think we can up the wide receiver game a little bit. I think it'll be through the draft, unless they go ahead and bring back maybe Juju on a 1 year and just put some veteran leadership in that room plus draft. I don't know if Brownlee, even though he had a pretty good camp and a pretty good preseason last year, is going to be able to contribute. Jimmy Holiday, Andrew Armstrong, those are practice squad guys through and through. And then, of course, Kelsey come back yesterday. He's making a lot. But, look, I think the time's passed with Noah Gray. I don't know if Wiley's going to get there. And then Brenning Stool and Trey Watson, you really don't know what you got there. So, honestly, I would maybe consider trying to trade Noah Gray or Jared Wiley if I could get anything out of them. And maybe if I had to, cutting Noah Gray saves $4 to $5 million, somewhere in that ballpark. I would almost consider that if I had to free up some money short term. So let's go to the defense here. The defense, we're going to have Carl Loftus, Chris Jones, Tonga, and Felix Anudike coming back probably would get the start over Ashton Gelati. Now, look, those two could be rotational. It's not a big deal who starts because by the third play of the game, they're already rotating, so it don't really matter. But your backups right now look like to be Ethan Downs, Zach Pickens, Omar Norman-Lott, Ashton Gelati, and then, of course, you got Tyreek Smith, it should be not Ty Key, Tyreek Smith and Marcus Harris right there as some extra defensive line depth, which I feel like we're going to need some more possibly starter and defensive line depth. We got Drew Tranquil and Bossa with Cam Arnold all at the weak side linebacker. Bolton and Brandon George is going to be the 2 middle linebackers. And then I think Cooper McDonald would start strong side here if the season were to start today, and Cole Christensen would be backing him up. No Williams, Melvin Smith Jr. on one side. Now, at the other side, I got Christian Roland Wallace, and Christian Fulton got left off the list, and apologies to Kevin Knowles. Those two got left off the list. So you would have Christian Roland Wallace, Kevin Knowles, who did a pretty good job at the dime last year, and the corner, the nickel, playing that kind of thing, covering the slot. He did an okay job there at the end of the season. And then, of course, Christian Fulton. Yes, he battles injuries, but when he played, he looked okay. So no Williams, Christian Fulton would probably be your starters there. Smith and, Christian Roland Wallace, all those guys are rotating in with a slot along with Shamari Connor. Jaden Hicks, Shamari Connor. And then Haloi Gilman may get the start at free safety. Tanner McAllister, I don't know if he'll make the roster or whatever, but he's in the depth chart right now. Then, of course, you got Butker and Winchester. I look for them to tender Matt Ariza before maybe the day's over tonight or tomorrow. So I think getting Ariza for about $1.1 million is a super cheap deal. So after looking at that, you can see, guys, going in right now, if you had to build this roster, wide receiver needs some help. Offensive line needs a little bit of help. Tight end honestly needs a little bit of help, but we do have 4 or 5 guys there that you can rotate through. Kelsey buys you a little bit of time, so if you don't see somebody you love in the draft, you can avoid it till next year. But I do think it puts Kenyon Sadiq in play, absolutely, if they really like Kenyon Sadiq. I think defensive end, defensive tackle still needs a lot of help, and I think corner's the big one. Corner is a big help here. I like Noah Williams, and I think Christian Fulton done okay. But I can't trust Christian Fulton, and they didn't give Noah Williams enough time last year to keep him super comfortable, so he could come in and have a big-time slide in year 2. He may hit that sophomore slump big time. You never know. So we need a lot more help there. I think so. So let's just jump right into some mock drafts, and you guys chime in with me. Let me know what you like. If you need to get, you want your voice heard and you want to be out there for Chiefs Kingdom, throw out the super chat. I'll get to every one of those. Those will alert me. Everything else, the chat gets really fast and I may see it, I may not. But here's what we'll do. I'm going to be looking at a draft simulator. I won't be able to see all this really quickly, so I'm going to check in every so often, and I'm going to look and see what you guys are telling me to pick and maybe what we can do. So let's just get it going right now. Let's bring it up. I've got it ready to go. It's raring and ready to go. And for the first mock draft today, what we're going to do is we're just going to play it as it lies, and we're going to hit start draft, and whatever we get. And again, this is PFF rankings here. We're going to go by PFF rankings. So it is what it is. So here's our first option we can take today. Do we take and look at the first option of the day, which could be if you take a tackle? It's been rumored that the Chiefs were looking at Trent Williams if he were to be cut. It was rumored that we were looking at Rasheed Walker in free agency. It was rumored that we were looking at Jermaine Illuminor. So they're looking for right tackle depth. Can you get one of the best right tackles in this draft, if not the best, Francis Mauigoa, right here at pick number 9? What would it look like? What would it look like if the Chiefs took Mauigoa at number 1? And so, since we're going to do several of these, let's do the very first mock draft. And I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't want to overdo it and get everybody bored. I want to kind of just look through these really quickly and see what kind of draft we could get. So look, honestly, I think your best thing would be edge rusher right here, but all the edge rushers are off the board. Ruben Bain, David Bailey, Arvell Reese is gone. So right here, right now, I think we'll take Mauigoa, and let's just see what happens if the Chiefs take an early tackle. Let's look at it, and then at the end, we'll see what we like better. Do we like early tackle? Do we like early edge? Do we like early whatever? And then we're just going to say, hey, look, maybe the board don't fall the way we want it. Let's see what happens. So right now, let's take Francis Mauigoa. Let's get a tackle early and see what the rest of the draft would look like. So right now, we've got to be looking at corner, defensive line, or safety right here at number 29. Okay, that's our 3 big ones. Maybe wide receiver. So look, Omar Cooper Jr. is on the board. Peter Woods is on the board. Those would be your 2 right there. And then, of course, you got Colton Hood. And we don't need a Honachor now because we took whatever. So you got Casey Concepcion, you got Colton Hood, you got Denzel Boston, Peter Woods, and Omar Cooper Jr. If you want to look at complete just pass rush, you do have Zion Young, and you got Brandon Cisse right on the board. We've also got D'Angelo Pons here. But here's what we're going to do. A lot of people are saying Woods in the chat, and I do like that. I do like Peter Woods here. So I think it is very smart to grab a Peter Woods here, in my opinion, because defensive end, defensive tackle gets thin really quick. Peter Woods is a guy that can do both. So if you're telling me you get the best right tackle in the draft, and then you're going to get arguably the best defensive tackle, defensive end / combo that can play both of those for Spags, I'm all for it. So let's just take Peter Woods here, just in case there's no good edges at the next pick at pick 40, and at least you got a little bit of edge help, because I believe, even though I love Omar Cooper Jr., I do believe there are wide receivers that are a little deeper that could help us later on, and I believe there's more corners here that could help us. So let's take Peter Woods here and just see what happens. And again, we're just looking. It doesn't matter. Like, the picks are, it's semantics who you're picking here. You're kind of looking at what happens if the draft board falls a certain way. And so this draft exercise is to be what happens if we take tackle early. What would your draft look like if you took tackle early? So right here, The big one would be between Zion Young and D'Angelo Pons. Now, look, you've got a big defensive interior player right here with Peter Woods. He's absolutely good. But I don't know if you pass up Zion Young here either, to be honest. You get the edge rusher and you get the defensive tackle. I do think corner is a lot deeper than edge rusher. And for that reason, I'm going to take Zion Young because it's just easily wide receiver and corner are deeper. So I believe we got a better shot of grabbing a better one later on. If I skip Young there, you may not get another good edge the rest of the way. So this is what we'll do right here. And again, we're just looking at it. It's not the end of the world. We're not saying this or that or nothing. I'm not condoning these picks. I'm just saying let's look at them. So right here, you've got a wide receiver on the board here. We could go Elijah Surratt and Zach Branch. Now, look, I know a lot of people want that big X receiver, and a lot of people like Elijah Surratt. But honestly, Zach Branch is in the Chiefs' wheelhouse more than any player I've ever seen in my life. If we go down just a little bit, you've got some corners. You can take Chandler Moore. You can take Devin Moore, or Chandler Rivers or Devin Moore. I'm sorry, I called him Chandler Moore. You got Dalen Everett. You got Genesis Smith. Although we did sign Alohi Gilman, and so maybe Genesis Smith is not needed so much right now. I don't want to go down the board super far because I'm just going to play the rankings of PFF. We're going to play the PFF game, okay? That's what we're doing. We're just trying to be quick here. In my opinion, it would be Surratt or Zach Branch, but I'm telling you, Zach Branch fits the wheelhouse more. Let's just take Zach Branch. Okay, so now you've got a tackle, you've got a wide receiver, you've got a defensive interior player, and you've got an edge. Corner safety is going to be your picks just about from here on out, unless there's just somebody that got passed up and they are just so good on that defensive line or that offensive line that you can't pass them up. You can also maybe take a tight end if it's a good tight end. So, Billy Schroth is pretty good. I don't think Billy Schroth would be here at pick 109. Absolutely, I don't think he will. Rayshon Benny's another good one, but we do got a defensive interior. I'm not really going to take a linebacker this early. Michael Trigg looks intriguing here at tight end if you want to get a little younger, in my opinion. What's going on, everybody in the chat? Michael Trigg. Look, before I take this pick, I did get a super chat from Chrono. Chrono, what's up with the 5-bomb? He says, I want the Chiefs to trade 29th and 40th to move up in the draft. Only 5 Pro Bowlers have been picked at 29 since 2000. Yeah, that's fine. Brett Veach can probably move up and down. Do you want him to package 29 and 40 and go up? And again, you're looking at you're dropping another pick in the top 100, though, by doing this. I couldn't say I would love it, honestly. I'm trying to gain more picks in the top 100 because the Chiefs have a lot of stuff to fill. Could they use some of the 5th-round picks to move up slightly? Absolutely. So if you want to go from 29 to 27, 26, I'm fine. If you want to go from 40 to 36, I'm fine. I don't know if I want to package both of those up and go up to, like, say, pick 21. I don't know if I would really want to do that. I would kind of want to keep the picks. But I hear you out. I hear what you're going for. I understand what you're going for. So it's just one of those kinds of things. So let's get back to this one. Look, there's only a few things we're needing at this point. We need corner, we need safety, and I'll go ahead and throw in. Let's go ahead and throw in running back right here. Now, look, Kenneth Walker, that's probably too early for a running back, to be honest. I'm going to be dead serious. I feel like it's too early for a running back with Kenneth Walker. We're also going to assume that they're going to maybe offer a 1-year deal to Kareem Hunt to possibly continue that short yardage work. I don't think they double up on a wide receiver here. We'll go ahead and put linebacker on the board, and we'll go ahead and put our defensive line on the board as well. We'll keep about all of them. So from here, I think, though, we could take a safety here. We could take Bud Clark. At 133, it's a little bit too quick. It's a little bit too fast. So maybe they just go ahead and take the corner. We haven't took the corner here, so maybe they just take the best corner on the board. Let's take... I don't love Malik Muhammad. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't love him. But at the same time, we're just kind of going by who PFF says. Like, I don't want to get into the bogged down, I like him better than him. I like him better than him. I like him better than him. That is just everybody's personal preference. The Chiefs literally get 10 picks in this draft. If you could let everybody in Chiefs Kingdom and everybody with a keyboard pick these, you would have 100 billion different outcomes because everybody likes who they like. So nobody's ever going to be happy with anybody you pick. So I just want to make it easy and go through it. So right now, Malik Muhammad is my number 11 corner. Okay, so he would be a decent corner right here. Who are the other corners? Devin Marshall I like, but he's not rated as high. Charles Deming is actually one of my better corners. Now, look, they've got him at 165. I think he's better than this. So if you pick him at 109, they're going to slaughter us. But honestly, I don't care what they say. I'm not doing it for that reason alone. But let's just go ahead and take the corner. Let's just take Malik Muhammad. I've seen him in the chat a few times. Kilgore's off the board, I believe, guys. Let's just see what we got. It's not about, Kilgore was on the board, but it doesn't matter. Like, we're not worried about who we take. We're worried about the position. Like, we want to see how many options. So right there were a lot of good options on the board at corner. You had Demings, you had Muhammad, you had Kilgore. You had a few guys right there. You had Devin Marshall. You had the kid from Florida. There was about 5 really good options there at pick 109? So that's what I'm saying. When you come to the draft here, you look at your options. At pick 109, there was a lot of good picks there for corner. Now, that wouldn't have been the same if you were going and you were looking at, not tight ends, I'm sorry. If you were looking at defensive ends, that wasn't the same. So you've got to get a defensive end very, very early. That's what we've noticed. At pick 140, we've already got a wide receiver. We've got a tackle. We've got bunches of defensive line. So I think we still just take best player on the board at any of our needs. I think that's exactly what you do. I think we just double down on corner here and take Devin Marshall. Screw it. Let's take 2 corners. We need corners. Let's just take the corner and go on. And again, it doesn't matter who I pick. We're looking at corner. That's what we're doing because everybody's got a different one. If I take this corner, somebody's going to like this corner. If I take that corner, it just doesn't matter. And the funny thing is it's March 10th, okay? These guys have still got 2 months before they get drafted, 2 months to line out their draft stock, and nobody has played a single snap in the NFL. So to say anybody sucks is the craziest thing I've ever heard at this point because you really don't know. There was probably a lot of people crying about Puka Nacua getting drafted to the Rams, and here we are 2 or 3 years later, and nobody's crying about it anymore. So you just got to kind of let it play out and just see what we can do. The best player on the board here would be another wide receiver. Now, that's another small one. You could take the safety here. I think that's probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the safety right here. I think he's probably the better pick. Let's just pull the safety. And again, it doesn't matter who the safety is. I'll go look at them just to make sure. And I'm sure we're going to have different people that say, look, Cole Wisniewski's on the board, Bishop Fitzgerald, VJ Payne. Everybody's going to have their own flavor, right? So let's just take the one that PFF has ranked just to see what happens. Honest to God, I prefer Wisniewski over this guy. But I'm just not playing that way right now. At the end of the draft, I just want to get through it. I just want to take the player that's there. 176, we do need a linebacker. Again, Aiden Fisher. Is he a weak side linebacker? He's 6'1", 231. I don't think he is, but we need a strong side linebacker. You got to remember, we haven't cut Tranquil yet. We're starting Cooper McDonald. That's who we're starting, Cooper McDonald. Jeffrey Boss is not a strong side linebacker. So we're starting Cooper McDonald. So technically, you do need more of a strong side linebacker. What about Trey Moore? 6'3", 249. He's looking like he may be more of a middle linebacker. So let's just take Aiden Fisher and move on. Let's just take a linebacker here at 176 and go on. And I think this is just about going to wrap it up for the Chiefs draft. I'm very curious to see what this board looks like if you take a tackle first. Honestly, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't think it was super horrible. We still get more picks here. I wish this would... Why are we all selected here? Can we get off? Thank you, sir. Let's see. You still need some more players. Look, at this point, it really doesn't matter. If I pull Canada or Fuller, we've already got 2 of them. Let's just take a cheap running back here. Let's take Roman Hemby. Let's just take a cheap running back at the end of the draft here. Let's just see what happens. Let's end this bad boy up. I think that was our last pick. So look, they're going to probably like destroy the draft. There's going to be people in the draft say, "Oh, those are horrible picks." It doesn't matter. We're not worried about who's the pick. We wanted to see what the draft and who these people would be based on if Francis Mauigoa were on the board. Okay, if you took Mauigoa first, what does it look like? And so here's what it looks like. They give us an A plus. They give us an A minus for Peter Woods, and they said maybe we should have drafted Omar Cooper Jr. And maybe so, rightfully so. But we took the cheap route out with Peter Woods because why? Why did we say it? Because if you can't get a good defensive end at 40, which we got Zion Young, pretty good deal. But if we couldn't get him and Zion Young was gone and there was nobody there, at least Peter Woods can move out to defensive end. Hell, they had Peter Woods, he rushed as a linebacker once or twice in college. That's how athletic he is. I think he scored like a 96 athletic grade in his college career. That's how athletic he is. He is super athletic. So, Mauigoa, Peter Woods, Zion Young, Zach Branch. Now, they're going to start hating some of these picks. They hated the Malik Muhammad pick. Now, we had a lot of Muhammads in the draft, or in the chat. People said take Malik Muhammad. But this is what I was trying to tell you guys. A lot of people can like a lot of things, and now look, PFF don't like Malik Muhammad. So you can't listen to just everybody. Like, you just got to have you got to just know what you like, stick with it for your reasons, but you've also got to say, look, if the Chiefs see that they like this player, yeah, we can look back and grade them in 2 to 3 years, and you may be right or you may be wrong. But in the moment, everybody has a little different rankings, and right now they didn't like Malik Muhammad. Cool. I thought it was a fine pick. Devin Marshall got the B minus at whatever. Tafe, I think is how you pronounces it. A B minus. Aiden Fisher. We ended up with two. Why can't I think of their stupid name? They're right up the road from me. Indiana Hoosiers. Why I was trying to say something with a C, I have no idea. But Aiden Fisher and Roman Hemby, a B minus and a C minus. Look, I don't think that's a bad draft. They give it an overall an A minus. So we do know by doing something like this that if the Chiefs were to take Mauigoa at number 9, it's not the end of the world. Don't go set your couch on fire. Don't don't throw something at your pet alligator. Don't do something crazy because you may regret it, because honestly, Mauigoa could be really good and you're getting a tackle that we just paid $80 million for 4 years, 20 mil plus, and you would get Mauigoa at 30 million guaranteed for 5 years. That's a pretty premium position for a pretty small price. So that kind of stuff would not surprise me. And I think by doing this little mock draft, you see that it's not the end of the world. You still ended up with Peter Woods. You could have got Omar Cooper Jr. You had Zion Young. You could have drafted, I think, there was a few better players on the board at pick 40. Who was it right after 40? It ain't going to show us, is it? Yeah, it's not going to show us, but there were some decent selections right in this one. So let's go back and let's do a new mock draft. Matter of fact, let's screenshot this. Let me downsize this. I want to screenshot it, and I'm going to throw these up on X and see who people think could be the pick here. So if you have Mauigoa go at number 1, what does that look like? So let's do a new mock draft. Let's see how the board falls, and let's do it again. And this time, if Mauigoa is the best player on the board, we'll just skip them and go to the next one. Let's take an edge. Let's take a wide receiver. Let's take a corner. Let's do it for all the above. So I appreciate you guys being here. If you like what you're seeing, hit the like button for me. I appreciate you guys. I'm spending a little bit of time with you. I'm talking a little bit of draft. I appreciate everybody that's commenting in the chat, that's super commenting. I appreciate all that. All the support goes a long way. It's been a rough 2 days. It's been a lot of work for the last 2 days. We've been popping out shorts. We've been popping out lives. But here we are. We're just doing the work. We're also just monitoring free agency. And so far, the Chiefs are still kind of just, Brett Veach is resting. He's resting, and honestly, I feel like Brett Veach is probably trying to get together some more money somewhere. That's what I feel like he's doing right now. I feel like he's trying to garner some more money. Hey, Kathy, how are you doing? Thank you. Very good stuff. JCP said doing the Lord's work. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Chiefs will three-peat, says Lions sign Pacheco. Absolutely, they did. I hope he has a good career there and does really well for the next few years. So here we go. Let's go back in. Let's do one more. Actually, I plan on doing a few more, but let's just go ahead and do one more here. We're going to do the 7 rounds. Everything's going to be the same. Let's enter the draft. Let's do this again. And this time, let's don't go with Mauigoa number 1. So look, we get something awesome. Let's see what happens if Caleb Downs falls. How about it? Look how cool this was. So here we go. Now we get a chance to see what it looks like with Caleb Downs going number 1. So let's see what happens here. Caleb Downs goes number 1. Now look, we already know that defensive end is really weak, and wide receiver and corner seem to be pretty strong. So right here, you kind of want to go defensive end. You can snag TJ Parker right here at pick 29. I think we should do it. Let's just do it and see what happens. TJ Parker. Now look, you could go Omar Cooper Jr., and you're taking a shot. Okay, if you want to take a shot there, if you take Omar Cooper Jr., you've got to get an edge before 40. You are now looking at Zion Young again right at pick 40. And if not, you're going to have R. Mason Thomas, who, guys, I like R. Mason Thomas as much as the next guy. But when we start looking at R. Mason Thomas, he's 6'2", which is about 3 to 4 inches. Well, I'll say he's close. Spags likes him at about 6'3". He's about an inch short, and he's about 10 to 11 pounds too little. And honestly, Gelati was about 265 last year, and he was one of the lowest weighted guys that Spags has taken in a long time. Besides, your B.J. Thompsons of the world. But if you recall, B.J. Thompson, even with his health stuff he had going, B.J. Thompson didn't even get on the field for 2 years. Like, we traded for Joshua Uche. He's a little guy. He never even touched the field. Cam Thomas couldn't get on the field. None of those guys could get on the field with Spags. So, yes, he may take them, but I don't know if that's going to be a big thing here. But Gabe Akis could be a good one at 40. So, if you really want to go Omar Cooper here, we could be shooting for Zion Young and Gabe Akis. That could be your 2. So, let me know in the chat. I'll let you guys pick it. You guys want to try Omar Cooper here and wait for maybe a Gabe Akis or a Zion Young at pick 40? Or do you just want to take TJ Parker? Let me know what you guys think. And while you guys are throwing that in the chat, I'll get to Sammy. Sammy has thrown out a 5-bomb. Let's go. Well, looks like I came in late today. Got my health results back just now. My iron levels are so high that Magneto could fly me around like a kite. Okay. Sammy got that iron working, At least you're not iron deficient. So you got that going for you. Let's look at the positive. Maybe you like to eat liver. I don't know. What have you been eating? You've been drinking blood like a vampire, maybe. I don't know what's got those iron levels up. Let's hope it's nothing crazy. Fingers crossed everything's going to be good. I think you're going to be fine. Let me guess. They're going to say, come back in a few weeks and we'll retest the iron levels. That's probably what they say. So it's good to hear that you're doing good, okay? We'll work on the iron levels, right? It's not the end of the world. We'll work on them. Okay, let's get back in here. And you guys have been saying Cooper, Parker, Cooper, Parker, Akis, daggone. It was almost split down the middle. It's exactly split down the middle now with Parker all the way. The next person that says Cooper or Parker, I'm just going to roll with it. So whoever's typing, anybody, Cooper, Parker. Is there a guy named Parker Cooper? JCP said to go ahead and do Cooper. Look, let's just go ahead and do what JCP. Let's go with Cooper, and let's just see what happens. This could show us, again, this may be a lesson. If you take the wide receiver because they're sexy, and you pass on Parker, we're going to maybe learn a lesson that by the time you get to 40, you may not have anybody. So let's just see what happens. Let's see if we learn our lesson or if this is going to continue to make us do wild things. Let's go. Omar Cooper. I think one of them will be here. Okay, so Zion Young is on the board. So he is here. TJ Parker actually did not go to pick 38. So maybe that was a bit of a reach. And so for that reason, okay. I trusted y'all. There you go. So you got Lee Hunter and you got Zion Young, and you've also got Brandon Cisse and D'Angelo Pons. That is a great top 4 right there. And then you still have Keith Abney, Gabe Akis on the board. So you've still got all those guys. Here's what I'll do. It's either going to be Zion Young or it's going to be Gabe Akis again, because you've got to get we know this. Me and Steve's done this so many times with you guys. If you do not get your edge before pick 40, by pick 74, it is slim pickings. So you've got to get it here. So it's going to be either Zion Young or it's going to be Gabe Backus. And a lot more people seem to like Zion Young more than Gabe Backus. I don't know if I agree with that, but I don't know if I disagree with it either. They're both good. I think Gabe Backus is going to be a steal in this draft, but I don't think Zion Young's bad either. So let's go ahead and just take Zion Young. He's a Missouri guy. I know you guys love him. We'll take him. It's cool. I ain't going to hold it against you. Okay, so here we go. We're back to 74. It's looking like Zach Branch is becoming like a thing around 74. Now, I don't know if that's going to hold up. On PFF, it looks to be holding up. In real life, I don't know if that holds up. Let's look at Kyle Lewis, because he is a hell of a linebacker, but he is going to be more of a coverage type guy at 6'1", 220. He's going to be more the same of what we drafted with Bossa last year, so we'll throw him right out. I think we throw him right out for now, even though Kyle Lewis had a hell of a draft all-star season with college and everything. So I think here you're looking at, let's look at our picks. We've already got the wide receiver, so Zach Branch isn't needed. You've got your safety, you've got your edge. I think you're starting to look at corners, and you're starting to look at defensive interior, and you're starting to look at maybe your tackles for offensive line depth. So let's go ahead and put tackles and guards, corners, safeties, and let's go ahead and throw some defensive linemen on the board. So it's looking like Darrell Jackson Jr. And honestly, I think Tonga cancels out Darrell Jackson. Tonga is about his size. I think Darrell Jackson's a little bit heavier, but Tonga plays a one-tech. He plays a zero-tech one-tech. So I think that he's out. Chandler Rivers. To me, Chandler Rivers is fine. I think he does well. The thing about it is at 5'10", 185, he may only be a slot-only kind of guy. And here's where I find a little bit of problems. We need somebody that can cover on the boundary more than the slot because, honestly, I feel like if you look at our depth chart, we have a decent amount of guys that do serviceable at covering the slot. Chamari Cooper is not one. Or Chamari Connor. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Cooper. Chamari Connor is not one. Christian Roland Wallace can cover the slot. Kevin Knowles can somewhat cover the slot pretty well. But I think we need another guy besides Noel Williams and Christian Fulton on the outside. So I think we got to have an outside guy if we go corner. That's just the way I see it. So I wouldn't look at them. Devin Moore or Dalen Everett would be the two I would be looking at. Devin Moore, I think, has got a lot of potential. His big thing was he was injured a little bit this year, and he's a little raw. But he's 6'3", 198, and I really like the way he looks. Devin Moore's good. Dalen Everett is a guy that I thought didn't impress me much when I watched his tape. If you can see, he averages an 86 passer rating. So when they throw against him in 2023, an 86, it went up to almost a 90. Then it dropped back down to an 84. Okay? He does get a lot of picks, so he's a ball hawk. We like that. He allows a lot of receptions on targets, okay? And he doesn't grade too high. But he does play a lot of outside. So here's what I'll say. I like Dalen Everett. I thought he did a good job at the combine. I really thought Dalen Everett done a good job at the combine. And again, I thought Moore shows pretty good promise on tape. So here's what I'm going to do. Because we did it in the first draft, I'm not going to variate from it this draft. We're just going to go with corner. That's where the value is, and we're just going to take the first guy on the board. That's what I did the first time. Again, you're not really worried about the guy we're taking. You're looking at what happens if we take Caleb Downs number 1. Would there be a corner at 74? And absolutely, there's two good choices. So it's a coin flip who it is. We'll take Devin Moore. We'll just take Devin Moore for now. We'll go on. I don't want to spend too much time on, semantics of who's the better player. Well, that's for another day. So we're at pick 109. I think, honestly, we've got to have some – if Billy Schrauth is always going to be on the board, like he has to almost come off the board. I think you got to get rid of C.J. Hansen, and I think you've got to get rid of probably Wanye Morris. So, honestly, I would look at maybe some offensive line depth. Schrauth, I think, is going to be too good at 6'4", 310 to still be on this board. I really don't think he's going to be here. A lot of people like Cage Casey. I think Cage Casey's pretty decent. You've also got Chris McClellan, and I think Brian Parker out of Duke can do a little bit of everything, also including playing center if he needed to. He's a little light to play tackle, but the interior three is nice. 6'5", 305. I really like Brian Parker. So I'll let you guys throw it in the chat. Do you guys want the offensive lineman, and we'll go through and pick which one we want? Or do you guys want to take a shot on maybe a Michael Trigg here? We can also look at maybe Seth McGowan, another running back at this level. Or we can double up on corners. I think that's fine. What you can do, you can steal an Emmett Johnson here, honestly. I would be fine with an Emmett Johnson here. Yes, it's 109. I think the Chiefs could wait later. But if you took one at 109, I wouldn't be too mad at you. Okay, so we say Michael Trigg, Cage Casey. I like Brian Parker. Hard not to want Trigg. O-line, Casey, Trigg. Mickey says pull the trigger, so that's Trigg. Wait for Moss. I draft Michael Trigg, get Parker, Trigger. Okay, look, I see more Michael Trigg, so let's just get Michael Trigg. Let's go. He's not one of my favorite tight ends in the draft. I think he takes a lot of time off. I don't think he's very physical. But again, with the Chiefs, you don't really have to be super physical. So I'm fine with it. So here we go. I think right here, we could have had Dallin Bentley, but you guys wanted Trigg. I think right here, Nick Singleton is a great running back to learn behind Kenneth Walker Jr. for a few years, maybe develop into that pass catcher role. I really like that. I think Isaiah World would be a guy that was coming off an ACL injury that could be good tackle depth, maybe not this year, but in the future. Katron Allen, I think, should be rated above Nick Singleton. I'm not going to lie. I think he's going to get drafted above Nick Singleton. But you got plenty of players here. We've also got Skylar Gill-Howard. We've got a linebacker on the board, Caleb Elam's-Orr, who's good. We've also got Charles Deming. Charles Demings is another guy. You could double up corner here. We really need some corner help. So because I won't get Demings here, I think it's a little too early. We'll shoot for him at 167. Let's go ahead and just take. A lot of people are saying Barber in the chat, Austin Barber. We drafted Devin Moore. Look, let's just take Nick Singleton. You guys are wanting Nick Singleton. Let's pull Nick Singleton here. And then at the next pick, let's pull another corner if we can get him. Did we get our other corner? No, I think he's off the board. Okay, so my corner's gone. He's not coming. So you got Jeremiah Wright, Elam's-Orr, and then you're back to the safety again, which we've already got a safety. We could take a guard. Let's take some offensive line depth. We haven't done that just yet. So let's pull a tackle. Let's pull Emil Wagner here. We need the best tackle we can get on the board. I think we take him here. And now we're back to here. Let's go ahead and just be quick here. We've already got that running back. We've got a tackle now. Let's take a guard center, something like that. So let's go ahead and take, honestly think Drew, let's take DJ Campbell to guard. Let's just take a guard here for some defensive or for some offensive line depth. And then, cool. Look, to Carnell Davis. We'll double up on corners here and we'll be done with it. Let's just see what happens. This would be draft number 2. And honestly, I'm going to tell you guys, that first draft felt a little better all the way through. It felt a little better all the way through. It got rated a little higher all the way through, according to PFF. It got rated higher. Here's what I'll say. Caleb Downs is a blue chipper. I wouldn't be mad at Caleb Downs. I think Omar Cooper's literally one of the top 4 wide receivers in this draft. I wouldn't be mad at that. I think where it starts getting a little odd is the Devin Moore. He may not pan out, and that's what you see with the C. I think Trigg, they still don't have us needing a tight end, so you're never going to get rated a high on PFF here. Nick Singleton was fine. Emil Wagner was fine. DJ Campbell was fine. And Takario Davis. I feel like they didn't like the round 374 and the 109 pick. So, again, that's just PFF. Devin Moore could be a dog. And we did double up with Takario Davis. So, I don't dislike that. And Michael Trigg, I think, could be fine in this offense. I really do. So, yeah, putting Downs at a B is wild. Who said that? Bam? Absolutely. You cannot get the best player on most people's boards fall into number 9 and giving us a B. You got to remember, though, PFF, they only want to rate you based on what they think you need, and they don't have it updated that we need a safety. They just don't. They think that Jaden Hicks, they remember Jaden Hicks from the rookie year, not Jaden Hicks from the sophomore year that couldn't get himself on the field for long periods of time because Spags had something against him, right? He got the Josh Williams treatment. So, again, and this is, you guys are seeing it firsthand. These are why you got to take these mock draft, these PFFs, just not even PFF, but all these. You got to take them with a big grain of salt because they rate depending on who they like. So look, their big board is a lot different than my big board. It's going to be a lot different than Brett Veach's big board. So somebody that Brett Veach might think's a top 20 player, PFF might think they're ranked number 80. And so if Brett Veach picks them in the top 20 like he likes, then they're going to rate it low. And so that's what I'm saying. So when people see mock draft grades and things, I think it's a little ridiculous. You got to chill. Don't get fooled and think that Devin Moore's a bad football player because they give us a C right here. Because if I were another team that they thought we needed a corner higher than us, Devin Moore probably gets an A+ pick. So it's not about that. It's about matching them up to team needs, and that's all they really worry about here. So I thought that was a pretty good one. Let's do one more. I got time to do one more here, and I'll go to about 4 o'clock. We've seen what happens if we take a tackle. We've seen what happens if we take a safety. We'll do one more, and we'll pick wide receiver or edge or corner, depending on what we got. And then whatever ones we don't get to do, I may come back on here tomorrow, the next day, and we'll try to do the next few. So that's what we'll try, unless we can get through this pretty quick. If we can get through it pretty quick, I'll try to do 2 more. But it's got to be very quick. And by quick, I mean we just take the position of need, first player, boom, go. And honestly, I'm fine with it because I feel like we're just doing it. You're not doing it to see the players you pick. You're doing it to see the positions you end up with. So look, perfectly, we got Ruben Bain. Look at that. It's like it just listened to me, and now we've got the edge rusher. So there we go. We take Ruben Bain. We don't think twice about it. We've got our edge in the top. So now at pick number 29, you've got 2 more edges on the board. So Cassius Howe and T.J. Parker. I don't think we're taking a double edge here, even though I would not be 100% against it. I love Cassius Howe. I think he's not a Spags guy, though. He's only at 248. He's not a Spags guy, but he is good. T.J. Parker's a guy you could use. So I would not be opposed to doubling up here. But let's not do it. Let's just take the next best player on the board. Let's take Denzel Boston. How about we just take Denzel Boston and see what happens if we put a big X on the team, huh? Do we like a 6'4", 209X that can play a better MVS role? Let's just try it. And yeah, a lot of people are saying Colton Hood. Here's the thing. I don't love Colton Hood. A lot of people do. I don't love Colton Hood. And I think corner is a little... You know what? I'm going to go back on that, though. I don't know if corner is a little more rich than wide receiver. But I think it's tough to get a top 5 wide receiver at pick number 29. I think so. So let's just take Boston and see what happens. I don't think I've ever drafted Denzel Boston to the Chiefs. This could be a first for me, obviously. I don't usually pick Denzel Boston to the Chiefs, but let's just see what it looks like. Let's just see what it looks like. We're just out here for shits and gigs today. Just see what it looks like. Okay, look, pick 40. You've still got Zion Young on the board. Look, we've picked Zion Young 3 drafts in a row. Let's not take him this time. Let's just do something different. How about we take D'Angelo Pons? Let's get our corner here. Let's just get our corner. Boom. There you go. Would I take him above, Hunter Lee? Would I take him above Christian Miller? Probably not. But let's just see what happens if we take the corner. Okay, right here, you know what? We're going to do something crazy. We're going to take Max Clare. Let's take the tight end. Let's take the tight end. Let's just take a tight end and see what happens. We need Kelsey's replacement, don't we? This is the only way to get through these quick. We just got to make the decision and move, see what happens. We need a safety, ladies and gentlemen. We absolutely need a safety. Zakee Wheatley, I think, is just a good pick right here. Let's just take him. Just taking the best on the board. We're not really thinking about it. We're letting PFF give us what they want. It doesn't matter. We just want to look at the picks. Okay, here we go. Le'Veon Moss, Max Llewellyn. You got Isaiah World on the board. You got Joe Royer on the board, Eli Raritan. So you've got a lot of tight ends. So maybe, possibly, what we've learned is that pick 109 could be... No, wait, not pick 109. Didn't we take a tight end somewhere up here? Max Clare. So 74. So 74 could be rich for tight ends. Unless you like Max Clare that much, could be rich. Because Nate Bolkerker is not too bad. Eli Raritan and Joe Royer are pretty good too. So if you think about it, at 74, you could get any of these 3 guys at 1 46, so almost double the picks. And I don't know if Max Clare is double the value of an Eli Raritan or Joe Royer or, Bolkirker. I just don't know. So I think right here, so what do we got? We got Ruben Bain, Boston, Pons, Clare, Wheatley. I would double up. Okay, look, we need some more defensive line. We need an offensive line, and I would double up on corner if I could. So let's just see what everybody's wanting in the chat. Weezy's been wanting Le'Veon Moss so bad. You know what? I'll give you Le'Veon Moss, Wheatley, just for the fun of it, because we took a running back here last time. Let's take it again just to see what it looks like with Le'Veon Moss. I'm not going to fight you over it. Let's just let you have it here today. We need a linebacker. Let's take Elam Zor. Screw it. If we need the player, we're going to take it. We do need a backup quarterback. I'd love to have Cade Klubnik. Like, I would kill to have Cade Klubnik as a backup to Patrick Mahomes. But I'm going to tell you right now, the Chiefs are never going to do it. They're just not going to do it. Do we get our safety yet? We don't have our safety. So I'll take Jalen Stroman. I'll go ahead and take Jalen Stroman at safety. And again, we're just being fast. It's not about who we're taking. It's about how we're taking them and what it looks like. I don't like Gums here. Delp. That may have been a pick, but we already took it. We don't need this anymore. I do like the big monster Xavier Harris in the middle as a defensive. We do not have a defensive tackle yet. So let's go ahead and take him. We need the defensive tackle, and I think that's going to wrap it up here. And look, I've got enough time to do another one. So this is what the fun is of going quickly. Okay. What are you going to grade us, PFF? What do you got for us? Uh-oh. Okay, look, so they give us the A+ on Ruben Bain. Let me go ahead and minus this just a little bit because I'm going to go ahead and screenshot this. Okay. They give us the A+ for Ruben Bain. They give us A for Denzel Boston, a C+ for D'Angelo Pons. So they do not like the Chiefs taking D'Angelo Pons at pick 40. They feel like 40 is a little too high for him. Max Clare, they didn't like that pick at C+, but I'm telling you guys, they don't think we need a tight end. PFF does not think the Chiefs need a tight end. I don't know what they're watching. Zakee Wheatley, Le'Veon Moss, Caleb Elam-Zor, Jalen Stroman all pulled B-, and Xavier Harris pulled a B+. That ended up with an A-, which is pretty good. And I agree with you, Mickey. That Pond score is disgraceful. Again, this is PFF, and this is what you get sometimes. You're using their rankings. You're using what they perceive to be our needs. So when people are like, man, I'm better than Brett Veach. Look at this mock draft I did. I got all A's from PFF. That doesn't mean that you drafted well. That means you drafted what PFF wanted you to draft, okay? That doesn't mean you drafted well. So, look, I like this one. Do I like it better than the first one? I'm still a little on the fence. Honestly, our first draft with Mauigoa could be the best one, which is wild because you would think your brain tells you, me and Steve's even said this, there's no way I would take a tackle at number 9. Like, getting Mauigoa feels like it would be such a waste. But then when you look at it, the board just fell so perfectly because of the values of the picks that it's not that bad. It's kind of crazy. I'm with you, Nathan. The first one kind of felt like the best, and that was picking Mauigoa, a tackle at number 1, which is so crazy. Like, this is what I learned from these. This is why I find doing mock drafts are fascinating to me. This is why I do it. I don't do it for what kind of haul can I pick? Who do I got? Who can I get here? It doesn't matter because these guys have never played a snap in the NFL. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you don't know who's good and who's bad. We're projecting that. So it's just crazy. So let's do another one here and see what happens. We've now took one with an edge. We've took one with a safety. We took one with a tackle. Let's see if we can get a wide receiver here or a corner. Let's take those two and see what happens here. Okay, look, set it up perfectly. Mansoor Delane. Let's take Mansoor Delane first, see what happens. A lot of people are mocking Mansoor Delane to us. Let's see what happens if we take the corner first. I don't think Brett Veach takes a corner first, but let's see what happens if he does. I think Caden McDonald, I'll get it right in a second. Caden McDonald is not on our board now that Tonga has been put there, in my opinion. He's just not. We took Peter Woods with the last pick, so let's go ahead and take TJ Parker this time. Let's take TJ Parker. It's only fair to the people that wanted Parker. So let's take it. So TJ Parker's now been taken. So you don't need the defensive end here. We know that they don't like D'Angelo Pons, and we don't need him. We got Mansoor Delane. So now I think you can take maybe a wide receiver if you want. You guys want to take KC Concepcion? That could be fun. You could take Jacob Rodriguez, although I feel like it's a little early. I think pick 40 is a little early for the Chiefs to take a linebacker. I don't feel like our linebackers were that – I don't feel like they were that dire to take him. But let's go ahead and just – so I'll give you two. KC Concepcion – Keith Abney, but we don't need Abney. Okay, so let's just take Concepcion. We don't need Abney anymore. We got the corner first. So let's see what it looks like with KC Concepcion. I think that's a pretty decent one. Oh, look at this. The big citrus falls right in our lap. We need a defensive tackle. Thank you. I'll take big citrus and pair him up with Recepcion. How about that? Who else do we need? You got your corner, your edge, your wide receiver, your defensive. So we're still looking for tackles and guards. Here's what I've noticed. When you start looking for tackles and guards around round 4, round 5, there's plenty of them there, but PFF don't like them. If you get the tackle early, PFF loves it. How weird. So we know they didn't like Michael Trigg here either. So how about we pull? Let's pull. I know people may want Ted Hurst. But I don't want to double up on wide receiver. So for me, it's going to be Cage Casey at tackle. Yeah, let's just take Casey at tackle. We need tackles. Let's take them. Let's just see what happens. We're just being wild here. I think Casey at 109 might be a little bit of a reach, but we'll see what happens. Okay, Torian York. I think he would be a hell of a middle linebacker. He's 227. I think he could play a little bit. He may be able to play the strong side. Torian York could be a guy here at 138. I think it's not too bad. I think he's not too bad here. You also got Katron Allen. How about we take Katron? Huh? Anybody want to take Katron? Let's take Katron. Mike said Hurst's name with disdain. Yeah, in this scenario, Hurst would be a disdain. I'm not going to double up on wide receiver that quick. We got Katron Allen at pick 146. That's a steal. Let's take another corner here. I think let's take Julian Neal and pair him up with Mansoor Delane. I think our corner room is now just completely perfect. We need some interior linemen. Let's take G.J. Campbell. We're just being quick. We need a tight end. They're not going to rate us very, very high with it, which is fine. We haven't grabbed a safety yet. Let's take Robert Spears-Jennings just for fun of it. Let's see what happens here. Okay, ladies and gents, let's see what happens. Is this going to be a decently rated draft, or do they hate it? Who knows? A B+ for Delaney. They said we should have drafted Carnell Tate. So that wide receiver is going to be our next move. We are going to take wide receiver on the next one. And I think I can fit it in too. So we'll go ahead and get all suggestions done today. I'm for the people. I'll get it done for you. I got stuff to do, but you know what? This one got rated an A-. So they didn't like Katron. I don't know how you don't like Katron at 146. That to me is a steal. If you get Katron Allen in the 5th round, that's a steal. Julian Neal in the 5th round is a steal. Robert Spears-Jennings ran a 4.3 at the combine. Don't really know if I would dislike taking Robert Spears-Jennings at pick 209 either. So PFF just doesn't really, they don't really grade all that well, but this is a pretty solid draft, guys. Delaney, Parker, Concepcion, Dominique Orange, the big citrus at 74. Cage Casey, I felt was a little high, but they did give us a B+. Katron Allen and Julian Neal in round 5, along with DJ Campbell. Dude, that's a pretty spot on. That's a pretty nice looking draft. Okay, that's 4 down. The only one we haven't done is the scenario where the Chiefs take a wide receiver first. So let's hope that we get that scenario here. Let's hope we get the scenario. It's not here, but we can do Sonny Styles. Who wants to do a Sonny Styles one? Oh, that seems fun. Let's do a Sonny Styles one. Let's do it. I'll be quick with it. We'll be super quick with the Sonny Styles mock. Let's do Sonny Styles. Let's do Peter Woods. Let's do Sonny Styles, Peter Woods. Sonny Styles would be wild. Okay, so we got Peter Woods. Let's take Caleb Lomu. Let's take the tackle. We're just going to pick crazy here and see what happens. Just because. I don't think Sonny Styles is going to last, but let's just see what happens. Derek Moore, I think we still want the big citrus here. I think the big citrus is still the play right there at 74. So now, maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. We did get Peter Woods. Let's take Billy Schroff. Let's take the guard. Let's just run through this one. We're just running. This wasn't on my cards today to do an extra one here, but we'll do it. You know what? Let's take Nadami Tucker. He's an edge rusher with some juice. He's not a Spags guy, but he's got some juice. Okay, so we need a wide receiver right here. I don't think we took a wide receiver yet. So now it's time to play wide receiver. But first, we'll take Charles Demings. We'll do that. Okay, so we need some receivers. Are there any receivers this late in the game? I don't love them. This is why you take receivers somewhere in round 2, maybe. Oh, wow. These are not very good receivers this late. Here's what I'll do. I'll take Tyron Montgomery because he's possibly could be used as an X, and I'll double him up in the receiver room. I'll double receiver up with – let's double receiver up with a little work. Let's double him up with Josh Cameron. I like Josh Cameron. Let's just see what happens. Okay, this mock draft is going to get destroyed. We already know this is going to be the worst mock draft we've done so far because I kind of doubled up on tackle too quick, and I don't think they think we need Sonny Styles. I just wanted some fun with it. Oh, wow, an A-. That wasn't the worst draft we've ever had, huh? Look at that. Okay, so even taking Dominique Orange and taking Peter Woods, we got an A for both of those. I like that. I mean, you've got 2 big run stuffers now with Orange and Tonga. You have Peter Woods and Chris Jones and Omar Norman Lott. Dude, you instantly become like insane. I do think edge is still a little weak because Nadami Tucker is probably not going to get to play with Spags. It's just probably not going to happen. Okay, so anyways, let's get back in here. Let's do what we were going to do. We were going to take the wide receiver. We want the wide receiver here, so let us have a wide receiver. Why are we having problems here with the wide receiver getting here? Carnell Tate. Okay, here we go. We've got Tate. Let's see what happens. Again, that could be Mekhi Lemon too. I'm just taking the highest one on the board. Okay, we've taken everybody here at this pick except for a tackle, which you could take Blake Miller and you could take Max Ahanicher. I prefer Ahanicher over Blake Miller. 100% I prefer that. Colton Hood as well. Let's take Colton Hood for the guy that said Colton Hood. There was a guy in the draft that said Colton Hood earlier. Let's just take him. I'm trying to pick a few different guys we haven't taken. You got Caden Proctor right here. Why not? We need a tackle. Caden Proctor, let's go. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen, but now you're going to need a defensive end right here. You're going to need one pretty quick because I'm telling you, when you don't have defensive end, 74 is now getting really low of the barrel on defensive end. So I think Spags takes LT Overton. I don't love LT Overton, but let's take him. That's a Spags guy. Sucks, but it's a Spags guy. Okay, so here we go. We're back up here. We've got the tackle. We had to reach a little bit. Let's see. We need a defensive interior guy. Let's take Chris McClellan just for a new name. Mr. Andrew, Hood over Pons, we're not worried about who the player is. I've explained this like 5 times. Like, yes, a lot of people are like, oh, you like Hood over Pons? I don't like Hood over Pons. I prefer Pons over Hood. But at this point in the draft class, we don't really know if Hood is worse than Pons. Like, Pons has a lot of things that makes you think he could be a bust. He's little. He has problems. So you just don't know. So I think to be that, like, we can't really worry about the player at this point. It's just too far out. Again, I hate to keep saying this, but there were probably Rams fans that were crying over Puka Nacua, okay? But you see how that turned out. So we don't always know how everything's going to play out, especially on March 10th. So we're not worried about the player. We're worried about the position. We have pulled lots of things here, but we did take Colton Hood. Let's pull a we don't need wide receiver. We could go halfback again, but that just feels over redundant. I'm wanting to take new people. Let's pull Elam's Orr. But it's a little too early. It's a little too early for Elam's Orr. Let's pull the tight end. Let's just pull Martin Klein. It doesn't really matter. We're not worried about who the player is. Let's pull the tight end at 146. Let's pull Elam's Orr at 167. And then that gives us let's pull Julian Neal here. Let's double the corner up. How about that? And then let's take Cole Wisniewski, safety. Hey, look at that. Cole Wisniewski is going to just land in our lap. Okay, while we're waiting to see what this looks like, we got a been a member for 24 months. Mike, who is your Puka Nacua of this draft? Look, I don't really have a specific Puka Nacua as of right now. But if you want to stick to wide receiver, who are some wide receivers? There are some wide receivers I think are kind of being overlooked right now. I'm not going to say they're Puka Nacuas, but I think that they're being overlooked. Lewis Bond out of Boston College. He's about 6 foot, 197. I think that he is a yak kind of guy that can do a lot of things that he's kind of on the next tier down. So you would have Rashee Rice, Omar Cooper. They're like in the same kind of yards after catch guy, right? I put Jeremy Bernard right in that. Like he's like below him. I think Lewis Bond is like if you can't get Jeremy Bernard. So it'd be like Cooper, Bernard, Lewis Bond would be like that yak guy. I think Eric McAllister out of TCU could be good. He's got a few problems. He's got some problems. But, he's not – his football speaks for itself. At 6'4", 194, he'd be a hell of an X receiver. I think Jacoby Lane moved a lot smoother than I thought he was going to move at the combine. He really did. I think Kevin Coleman is pretty good, but he's really small. I think Eric Rivers is pretty good. He's pretty small. Skylar Bell, he's not as small as Rivers and Coleman, but I think he could do it. I really like Josh Cameron out of Baylor. I think he catches just about anything you throw his way. Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State, I think he's not bad either. If I had to pick right now, I would say the guy that I'm bigger on than everybody else is not big on. It's not the sexy one right now because he's not rated that low on everybody's board. But for me, I think it's Jeremy Bernard. I don't think enough people are talking about Jeremy Bernard. I think Jeremy Bernard could be a top 50 pick, should be a top 50 pick. He may not go to pick 70 and beyond. He may not go to the third round, middle of the third round. I think that's going to bite some teams on the ass a little bit. I think Jeremy Bernard's better than people are giving him credit for. He could possibly, I think he's above Chris Bell for me, and he could possibly get above. He's right with Casey Concepcion, like wide receiver 6, wide receiver 5. He's right in that range for me. But yeah, I really like Jeremy Bernard. I don't think a lot of people are talking about him. And I know that's not like a deep selection, but for now, that's what I got. So, okay, let's see what we got in this draft. So PFF didn't like Colton Hood either. So for all the Hood peeps, PFF is right there, not with you. Carnell Tate at A. At pick 9, Colton Hood, Caden Proctor got an A. Overton got a C. Overton sucks. Here's my point. If you get to 74 and you don't got an edge, you're in trouble. We just proved it. He's just not it. You have got to get an edge in the top 3 picks. You have to. It is paramount. I think Brett Veach, what we've learned today is that you've got to get an edge at pick 9 or pick 29, and if not, you're going to get Zion Young or Gabe Akins at pick 40. That's the best you can hope for. And I'm going to be dead honest. It drops off a cliff after those two. It drops off a cliff. And so for that reason, those two could get drafted earlier than people think. You could have 6 defensive ends go in the top 35 because of that reason. So yeah, this one's not bad. They give it a B+. We'll have to see. But yeah, guys. It's 4 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock Eastern. You guys got to get off here, drive home from work, do what you got to do. I appreciate you being with me all this time. I appreciate you hanging out, doing some draft stuff, getting it going, just being awesome with me, going through these. I'll throw these up on X or something, maybe on maybe on YouTube or something, we'll let people vote on them and see what they like better. I was very surprised that the Francis Mauigoa draft could look so good taking a tackle at number 9. And that kind of opens up a new world of thinking, because it's like, that's a premium position. Premium position you're going to get for $30 million guaranteed. That's crazy, man. But I appreciate you guys being here. You guys hit the like button for me on the way out, and we'll be back with you tomorrow, the next day. We're talking free AC. We're talking draft. We're talking everything. Be on the lookout. See you guys. Go Chiefs.
Wow.